Welcome back to
welcome
Here's the
back.
Fan. Excuse me, scratch. We have rebranded to Fourth and the Game.
Yeah, you hear it. It's in your
Let's
ear.
go. Roscoe, tell me what you think about the new name, the new title, the new logos. How you feel?
Look, man, we put in a lot of work, and I feel that this is something that we can brand off of, and that everybody can just let it flow off the tongue, and Fourth in the Game, and what I'm saying, put it in your ear. I feel real good about it. I've been drinking some go-go juice.
Go, Gadget, go. Fred, what's up, man?
I think the thing that makes me excited about Fourth in the Game is when it's all on the line, you got to be real clutch, and I consider myself to be a clutch guy. So, when you gotta move the chains to keep yourself in the game, I'm your guy. So Fourth in the Game, that's what it's like tailor made for me.
Molly Ma, aka 3M, what up?
Hey man, listen. Fourth in the Game, you need your best play, your best players. So that's what it is. Best players, best plays. Man, let's get it.
There we go.
Let's get it. So, Ma, I'm going to go straight to you because you're talking about best players, best game. It makes me think about the NBA playoffs. And clearly, LeBron James is the best player, the best person in the NBA history. And obviously, this playoffs is pretty much a wrap considering the greatness of LeBron James. And I know you fully agree, and you have nothing else to talk about.
Yeah, well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but LeBron James is not the best basketball player ever.
Please,
he's not even the best in the league right now, currently.
Stop it.
I mean, I know it sounds good, man. He's 6'9", 270 pounds, built like somebody drew him. But at the end of the day, man, if we talking basketball, if we talking GOAT talk, man, it's only one dude we should be talking about, and that's MJ.
Wait, listen, we're talking about this year's playoffs, Mal. Easy, bro. I'm talking about this year.
You were the one who said it. Yeah, you were the one dropping all these superlatives.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The greatest in the NBA now and forever, but specifically now. Let's not go into old MJ nonsense.
They acting like MJ was 38 years old, still putting up the numbers LeBron doing right now. MJ at 38 was with the Wizards, about to tear his ACL out every week with Kwame Brown. Man, don't act like that didn't happen.
Hey, they even make the playoffs with the Wizards.
Everybody forget the Wizard saga, but hey, I did.
If you had listened to what Maul said, he said that LeBron is not even the best player in the league right now. So
who's the best?
Can I perhaps interest you in one Jimmy Buckets Butler, who missed a game against the Knicks, and then the Knicks excitedly celebrated having beaten a Miami Heat team without Jimmy Butler by this much. But I'm just going to tell you, maybe Jimmy Butler is the best player in basketball quietly right now at this point in the playoffs. I mean, come on, man. Like, everyone knows the Heat are going to the finals.
Well, this is interesting, Fred. Let's talk about series, right? Because Randall missed game 1, the Heat won. Butler missed game 2, the Knicks won, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
so where are we at in terms of series, in terms of how this is going to finish out? Let's go like a round table, kind of give predictions on where this season is going to finish out.
That's like comparing like a T-bone steak to like hamburger helper is what you just did. Like Jimmy Butler just upset the number 1 seed team all kind of by himself, mostly and a lot. So I don't really know, like, you're trying to say Julius Randle. I think he's still around, and he probably plays for the Knicks according to the context of this. But Jimmy Butler is the best player in basketball right now at this moment. If you took a snapshot of the postseason, and
hey Fred, man, right now, I don't know what NBA you've been watching, bro, but I mean, if we're talking about best player in the game right now in the playoffs, man, I'm taking the MVP. I'm taking Joel Embiid, man. The dude is a walking bucket, man. He's hurt right now.
I mean, that's a problem.
That's a problem. But when he's playing, man, he's unstoppable, man. Inside, outside, defense, assists. Man, the dude can ball, man. So if we're talking about playoffs, now if you're saying playoffs. This is fourth in the game podcast, and we equate that to basketball terms.
Exactly. Fourth in the game.
If you need a bucket and you coming down the court, I know his name is Jimmy Buckets, man, but are you gonna feed that thing to Embiid, or you gonna let Jimmy Buckets trick it off?
You can't
let me jump in, Fred. Let me jump in on this real quick.
Right now.
Let me jump in real quick.
Yeah,
Joel, he's hurt right now. Embiid can't be the best player.
He's down on the court.
You even said it. You even said it, Maul. So it's fourth in the game. You can't put somebody in the game if they're not available. The best ability is availability. Go ahead, Roscoe.
Let's clear this up. First off, I think the Heat are playing out of their minds like they was
overachieving, man.
No, but they did the same thing in the bubble, and they're playing like that. And when Jimmy's in there, he's doing his thing. Also, I just want to throw this dude's name in the game in the hat of playoff. You know what I'm saying?
What's in the game? Need him.
Anthony Street Clothes Davis has showed up. I mean, you gotta think about this here now. Street Clothes did this thing. No. I'll let y'all talk and throw out Jimmy Buckets and Joel Embiid. You see, he ain't say nobody for the Knicks, by the way. I'm just letting y'all know that.
I don't even know who plays for them.
All I'm saying is the Warriors did what the Warriors do. They made 1,000 3-pointers. Like, oh my God, the Warriors will shoot the lights out the gym and still lost because Street Clothes handled the paint.
He was a monster, wasn't he?
And did this thing on the offensive side. So all I'm saying is when, like you say, fourth in the game, that's when big time players step up to make plays. Street Clothes did his thing. That's all I'm saying.
You just call the Street Clothes. I mean, we can't call Joel Embiid soft and everything else, and you just the man name is Street Clothes. I mean, come on, bro. Like, what are we doing? Like, okay, look, he played well last night. He gonna have a.
I know some funny nicknames about y'all, but I won't say them on the show.
I just want to say this. Joel Embiid is not even necessarily the most valuable player on his team because James Harden is actually kind of, he's making a case lately for himself as one of the better players in these playoffs. I mean, that man, kind of carried them to victory with Embiid off the court. I mean, it's James Harden.
Don't look at the box. When you watch
I'm not looking at the box score.
Don't look at the box score, man. You got to watch the game. James Harden did. He got his rocks off. He had 45.
Yeah, he carried them to victory when Embiid was sitting around nursing his most valuable foot.
Close to the screen, bro. He had to get.
I mean, that's valuable. That's what I'm saying. Like maybe he's showing that Joel Embiid is not necessarily the main component of that machine in Philadelphia.
The one thing that we clearly not even talking about is how Denver just taking care of business right now.
Yeah,
quietly just whooping people with the 2-time MVP Joker, and he's doing his thing, and nobody's even like batting an eye about them. Nobody's talking about him, I guess, because they making it look too
boring.
easy.
They're boring. That's the reason no one's talking about
them.
They're
making it look too easy. So when they get into the championship, are we gonna say, are they boring? Or
here's the problem: they're already out west. So by the time the rest of the country can watch them, they're already asleep.
No, that's not true. Because we're watching Sacramento series. We watch the LA series. We've yet to talk about Denver on this podcast
because of their boringness. I just exactly laid that out. You have to stay up late to watch that, and that's not exciting enough to keep your attention. So, I mean, they got to compete with Jimmy Fallon and whoever.
All right, so let's get into it, right?
Nuggets play.
I think the couple big questions that are out there: who's going to win? Kind of predictions of the LA Golden State series, and and the predictions of the Boston series, and the prediction of the Knicks series. What's your takes for the winners of those games, and like a quick reason why? Let's start with Maul.
Go ahead, Maul.
Well, I mean, as a homer. Even though I don't really believe it, I'm gonna verbalize it. The Knicks are going to win that series.
Speaking into existence, my brother.
I'm speaking into existence, and I'm saying that because, man, the Mecca is vibing right now, man. If you look at Madison Square Garden, man, you see every single outside of the ones in LA. You see everybody who means and is worth a damn is at the Knicks game. You see the crowd. You see Melo, Spike. Man, the energy is there. So I'm hoping that'll propel them to victory. Fred, you can yawn if you want to. But, I mean, it is what it is, brother. Just get on, just get on the bandwagon. As far
Give
as
me the Boston Philly series, a winner.
I
Stop talking
like
about
Philly,
the Knicks.
man. I think if Joel Embiid can come back and give him something, man, James Harden can play like he's been playing. Boston, man, they ain't the same team without Ime, man, on the defensive side of the ball, man. They don't have that dog in them on that defensive side of the court. As far as LA and Golden State, man, I think that's going to go 7. I think that both of those teams got a lot of tread on the tires, man. So it's pretty much going to come down to who wants it the most, man.
They can pick.
And I'm take Golden State. I'm gonna take Golden State.
All right, let's go. Let's go to Roscoe. Roscoe, what you got? Give me the 3 series.
Right.
And if you guys have an upset in the Denver series, feel free to talk about it. But who cares? Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm gonna say in the Boston Philly, I'm taking Philly simply because I can't ever cheer for Boston in my life. So Philly all the way. In the Knicks Heat series, it all depends on who's healthy at the right time. And like Maul said, the Mecca is jumping because it's New York, But
first time in 16 years, baby.
But the Heat is, like I said, the Heat is playing on some different stuff like they always do. But the real series is the Lakers Golden State. Now I can clearly just say, say Lakers in 5, Lakers in 6, but we forgetting that Schroeder is playing out his mind and D'Lo is playing out his mind. So it's not like I'm just watching the game and simply being a homer. I'm just saying these boys, if they do it, they do best. And everybody play their role. I don't see nobody beating them. So those are my.
All right, before we go to Fred on
the Lakers winning the championship.
No, we're just saying the series.
No, he said he don't see nobody beating them. I mean, you mean like the Lakers winning it all?
Did I stutter? No, I did not.
Somebody might want to check that cup, bro. You drinking something right now.
I just want to say before we go to Fred that Ma supports 2 teams that has never won a championship in his lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to name that: the Knickerbockers and the Salty Fish. All right, go ahead, Fred. Who supports one team who hasn't won a championship in his lifetime? Continue.
Wow.
Sorry.
Wow.
I wish I could hit you with a salty fish right now.
In the face.
This is easy. I'll make it quick since everyone else was long-winded. The Heat are going to the finals, as I already said, which means they will dispatch whatever team it is they're playing in the current round. It's also time to give Eric Spoelstra his props. He's the real deal. This guy was kind of just a person when they hired him with LeBron and them, and everybody was like, "Who's this guy?" I mean, man, the Heat have been probably the most relevant team in the Eastern Conference consistently for a while. Philly, if Embiid stays healthy. If Embiid does not stay healthy, then it's Boston, and I don't care because I don't root for either of these garbage teams. And then Golden State is going to beat the Lakers in 7. Again, it doesn't matter because the Heat are winning the finals.
All right. Thank you for that succinct announcement. I think that's the most succinct you've been ever on this podcast.
I've been working.
You're getting better.
I like that
feedback, Mr. Opinion.
I like that. That was
strong. Spoelstra, you bring up a great point in Spoelstra. He's a Hall of Famer at this point. I think there's no doubt about it.
Yeah, he's done his thing.
And remember this: a series doesn't start until the away team wins a game, right? So only thing that Denver has done is held serve. They only held serve. So let's see what happens when they go out to Phoenix. Exactly. Let's see what they go out. They do when they go out to Phoenix and they're able to get a victory. And I'm probably going to put money on KD and Booker showing up in that game. So I would say I don't think it's over just yet, pending how they show up. So let's go on to our next topic, the NFL, right? We just had the draft. Everybody who had a draft pick, some teams excluded, were considered having a really great draft in terms of meeting their needs. So what I want to hear from you, because I know you guys heard different podcasts about different things. Let's get into our way too early Super Bowl post-draft predictions. Way, way too early, but hey, you know what? This is a podcast and this sports talk, so what are we going to do? We're going to talk sports. All right. So 4th in the game, everything on the line. Who are you betting right now to win the Super Bowl? And you cannot pick your actual team. So now I don't want no fish picks. I don't want no Raider picks. I want actual picks
No
other
Bucks
than your
picks.
team.
Yeah, definitely not picking the Bucks.
Well,
Go
I'm
ahead,
picking the
Fred.
Bucks to have the first pick in the draft,
Fred, who
but
you
that's a
got?
different conversation.
Oh,
Who you
man,
got, Fred? Come on, Fred. You got it. You got to have somebody, man.
That's a toughie.
It's not.
I'm gonna say.
Say it.
Well, I can't pick the Dolphins.
Well,
thought that
say
was
the
the
next
rule.
one. You already know
Hey, don't
who
let
it
them
is,
tell
brother.
you what to do. Pick the Dolphins, brother.
You know, you tell her you ain't the boss of me.
He ain't the boss
Oh,
of you.
man.
No. I think it's
That was the
important.
question. But that was the question, though.
That's the question. You got to answer. Come on, come stick to the question. Come on now.
Let's go.
All right.
So I have to give you a
Fred,
team.
you need more think time. If you need more think time,
No.
we can.
If I'm just gonna throw someone out there,
No, not just throw. Give me a legit thought. Give me
well, if I gotta give you a quick, legit thought, it has to be quick. We don't have all night, guys. So I'm just gonna toss it out there. I'm gonna be the brave one, and I'm gonna go with the Kansas City Chiefs because why not?
Who they playing?
I don't know, man. You didn't ask me all that. I'm just telling you the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay. Go ahead, Mo. Who you got, man?
Well, since I can't pick the obvious choice,
The Raiders.
it's hard for me. It's hard for me not to pick KC either, man. I mean, you look at the squad they're bringing back, man. They're bringing back everybody. They just signed Donovan Smith today, so he's gonna turn into an all-pro tackle. He gonna forget how to hold and play like a dog. So, hey, man, I'm gonna say Chiefs.
And someone from the AFC West has to not be a dumpster fire.
Fred, you already had your turn.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Just saying.
I'm gonna say the Raiders. I'll change my pick.
There you go. There you go. There you go. Smart man. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Smart man. Hey, look. Here's my pick. It sounds crazy, but here's my pick. I'm picking the Jets because they want them to win.
That does sound crazy. Just to be clear.
I'm just saying. I'm thinking the Jets
way crazy.
And the real sleeper team, the real unconventional team, I'm picking New Orleans.
Also crazy, no one picked Cincinnati. They would be definitely my second pick in this. Also, one time I drove by the high school football field that Joe Burrow played his high school football games on, which was weird. It's in Athens, outside of Athens, Ohio, but that's a true thing. Anyway, they could also win the Super Bowl.
What's that got to do with the price of tea in China, though?
Well, because he's the quarterback of the Bengals who could win the Super Bowl this year. Much more likely than the New York Jets or whatever crap team you're about to pick, Mr. Opinion.
Go ahead, Mr. Opinion. Who you got? Come on.
Well, especially post-draft and everything that's going on, I'm really excited to see that defense of the Philadelphia Eagles. They were already so dominant and so good. So with Jalen Carter, the best player in the draft coming out, and they were able to get him at number 9, add to that defensive line. They even got another pass rushing defensive end. So their rotation on the front 7, I think, is just really gives them a big advantage. I'm interested to see how they adapt with losing their offensive coordinator, if they're still going to run a similar style of offense, or is going to be a big adjustment to calling those big plays at big time. So I would say, if I had to just throw it out there, Philadelphia has an advantage because I believe they have the best defense in the NFL right now today.
Mr. Opinion, you remember that time the Las Vegas Raiders could have drafted Jalen Carter and they picked some guy with long arms and a broken foot instead?
I do actually remember that.
Hey, Mr. P, do you remember that time the Dolphins won the Super Bowl? Oh, that's right. We were not born.
Hey, just because we weren't born don't mean it didn't happen, brother.
We were not thought of.
Great.
Just because we weren't thought of, it don't mean it didn't happen. It's still in the record book.
Hey, but I just want to give a shout out to my moms. She's been talking about the Jets winning the Super Bowl, so I had to throw that in there. Go ahead.
Hey, man, tell moms to stop talking crazy like that, man.
That's tell them.
Nah, I'm stupid.
All right. So
I respectfully disagree. That's all I'm going to say.
I respectfully would like moms to change her NFL pick. Please. Pretty please.
If you don't mind.
People have their fans and people support teams for whatever reasons. And I think that's why we come back to sports is, Fish fans for the last, I don't know, a million years have been assuming that they're going to win. Knickerbocker fans, same way. There's plenty of loser franchises in sports who have never won championships, but they still have fans. And I think that's the big deal, right?
Yeah.
Hope springs eternal.
Poetry.
All right, Shakespeare, let's go.
Speaking of hope, speaking of spring, speaking of Newturnals, Coach Prime, Neon Deion Sanders, which he doesn't really like that name, so I'll just call him Primetime.
I mean, that's a great name.
That is a fantastic name. But Primetime is the coach of the Colorado, and he came to the team, and they went 1-11. Yeah. And he came out with a great quote. So I want to just share this with you. He was like, you know what? I can't put new furniture in the house until I get rid of the old furniture.
All day.
And all the old furniture was that 1-11 team. Yeah. And he has over 50 players from that team hit the X. He only has 13 coming back from an 85-man scholarship roster. He has 13 coming back as of now that we speak. So he has to totally rebuild the roster. We've never seen anything like this before. The closest thing we've seen is about 25 players been transformed and turned over a roster. So I would say, what are your thoughts on this? I want to start with you, Roscoe. And I think the question is, will this be a success in terms of turning over a roster? And we've never seen this before. Was Coach Prime being too ambitious in this target, or is he spot on and just, cleaning the house?
I would say he's spot on, simply because he has a mission and he has a goal. And I know he's not a dumb person. He's very smart. And he knows that he can get people, just like he just got some people from Florida State. He just got some people from Florida, transferring and committing to him. So, like you said, you can't build off of horrible foundation. So you got to get your foundation right. And I would say that he's doing the right thing, but everybody.
Maul, let me hear from you. Come on, Maul. This ain't never been done before. I mean, he's literally only has 13 players left over, and he's trying to build out a roster from here to August. He has to get to 85. Is it too ambitious?
I mean, I think he's on the right track, man. And we can break this down as simple as, man, if somebody said, Mr. Opinion, you got to go coach the Bad News Bears next year. How many of them Bad News Bears players going to be on your roster?
Zero.
Okay, let me tell you
on your roster. I mean, you think about a 1-11 team. I seen the University of Colorado sent out this crazy stat where like only 5 of the kids that left actually played more than 6 snaps. Like one of them registered a tackle. One dude that was a DB, he had 1 pass breakup in 2 years. He was a sophomore. Like, these are cats who really shouldn't probably have big time Power 5 scholarships anyway, bro. I mean, they were just pretty much Colorado been fielding the team, man. So if you tell Deion to come in, do his thing, sell tickets, man. If somebody say you got to go coach the Bad News Bears next year, man, hey, listen, I'm sorry, I love y'all to death. Y'all out of here, bro. That's just it, man. You can't. He in order to do what he's got to do, he got to weed out some of the cats that probably shouldn't be there anyway.
All right, Fred. Thank you for that, Fred. Let me just make it plain. I mean, they're telling you we got to clean it out, but let's be realistic about it.
Yeah, no,
right?
I mean, I'm with you. That's what I was thinking the whole time. I hate to agree with you, but I was thinking while they were talking, and I was watching the weird faces you were making. I was thinking, yeah, man, maybe Mr. Opinion's right about this. So I got to looking. Transfer portal's been around for less than 5 years as of right now, right? So this is in my opinion, this is a calculated risk that Deion Sanders is taking here. I'm going to read you what the AP News said. They said Colorado has had 52 scholarship players enter the portal in the 5 months that Deion Sanders has been the coach there, right? So if he's coming in and saying, hey, I got to, get new furniture or whatever it is that he's saying, then I don't know, man. That's a bold move whenever you got to have a roster filled out in a few months. Are there better players out there available? I mean, you're going to get 52 guys in a transfer portal? I don't know. He's really kind of testing the Coach Prime brand here. if he wins, huge success. He's probably gonna, he's probably gonna be able to
all
translate that into more
all you
money
need is a
later
strong
on.
22.
All you need is a good 22 and a kicker. That's
I
it.
mean,
You don't need.
I
You
don't
talking
know.
about
I don't know
85?
about
You
that.
talking about 85?
I don't know about that in today's game. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Hey,
You
listen.
need some depth. You need these kids aren't the same.
Hey, Fred, listen to me. Travis Hunter, Shador Sanders, the rest of the 4 5-star cats that he bringing in. It don't matter if you got Joe Blow behind them; they ain't seeing the field anyway. So
At
you
all.
talking about building depth.
I mean,
if you get a strong
things
20,
happen.
listen, I'm gonna say if you get a strong 25, 30 players on the college football, Alabama got all those 4 and 5-star recruits, man.
Can you get all those guys in there by August?
Yes.
Yes, he's getting them
How
in
do
there.
you do this?
He's getting receivers from Auburn. He just got a couple of cats from Florida State, some kids from Florida. I mean, listen, man, in football, you need to be about 30 deep, man. Alabama got 4 5-stars all up and down them 85 issued scholarships, man. Ain't but 30 of them cats playing. The rest of them is leaving the next year. He don't need to reinvent the wheel, man. Just open it up, give some kids an opportunity, man. They're gonna do their thing, man.
And there's some young men out there that don't have any stars because they didn't go to the publications and pay money that will go there simply to prove to Deion Sanders that they deserve to be a D1 scholarship player and will play their butts off, man.
All I'm saying is it's a gamble. I'm not saying it's going to not pay off. I'm just saying it's a gamble. You have to hope that the pool is as deep as what you guys are suggesting. That's what it comes down to.
What you're saying is that you will just like keep a bunch of losers. I'm calling these young men losers. You will keep a bunch of losers simply because you need numbers.
I mean, you do need numbers, right? That's a fact. I'm not telling you what I would do because I'm not Deion Sanders.
No, man, don't go
That's
out
what
like
you're saying.
It's going to the game. Going to the game, you got to make a decision.
I said this is a risk. I said that he's taking a risk. He is objectively taking a risk.
They're
This is a
1
risk.
in 9.
1 in 11.
These dudes have same thing. They have not won but one game by accident.
It really just all hinges on who you get in the portal and how deep that pool of talent is that's willing to come there.
But listen, Fred, one thing that people ain't considering, man, everybody's blaming Deion for this exodus, right?
Well, I'm not blaming him for anything.
No,
personally,
people are saying he's taking a risk, he's running them off. But if you think about it, man, a 1 in 11 football team, them cats probably wasn't lifting right, they wasn't eating right, they wasn't disciplined. So day one, when Deion hit the door and changed that culture, man, half of them cats is out of there just because I ain't trying to work that hard. This cat, he doing too much. He got cameras everywhere.
Were they listening to the Fourth in the Game podcast though? Were they listening to the Fourth in the Game podcast?
If they were listening to the Fourth in the Game podcast, they would have some testicular fortitude about themselves. And they would stay there and make them wait.
Man. Out of those 52 cats in the portal, man, probably the majority of them probably needed to be in the portal, man.
Yeah.
I would say probably 3 of them he probably wanted to keep.
Yeah.
I would say 14 of them, Deion Sanders was like, these guys played for Colorado? That's crazy.
Exactly.
That's my point. You're my point. They couldn't find him on film. Yeah. They were like, this cat, did he actually dress this year? Because what does he have a scholarship for?
Deion Sanders was like, I never saw that guy above my cowboy hat brim.
Look, they probably go to Blue Mountain State anyway, so it don't matter.
One of the, and I think this is I think you guys bring up a great point, especially in terms of you don't need full 50. Probably closer to 40 nowadays, because I think I do agree partly with Fred. Like the levels of play, you don't need 45 stars, but you need a 40-man roster that you trust to get on the field. Yeah. Right? Either way, you need about a 40-man roster. And in modern day football, I would say 40. 45, because they do a lot of rotations around here nowadays versus what they used to do. What with that being said, I remember a clip that Coach Prime said. He was like, "It's 4th and 1. I need the down song to his running back room," and he was like, "Who's going to want to tote the rock? I need the person stand up tote the rock." Nobody said I'm that dude. Not one person said, "Coach, that's me." And he said, "Listen, y'all told me a lot because nobody in this room said I want the rock in that situation."
Come on, man. Like he said, they don't want to do that. They don't want to put that work in, man.
And so they want that pressure, man. It's pressure.
So I would say this is ambitious. We've never seen it before. I hope it works. And I guess
I hope
the
it works
other
too. I just wanna be
important
clear about
question, is it replicable? Can the next coach
none of
come
this
in?
is. None of this is. This is all everything that Dion's done since he's been in coaching is all a force of personality. On the field, I think it's fair to say there's never been another Deion Sanders. Like there have been, there's certain things that he does that is similar to other people. It's not like he's the first to have done everything, but you're never going to see prime time. That's never going to exist again. I mean, think about who he was when he was on the field, the personality, the way he backed it up with his play on the field. I think that everything that he's doing coaching draws on what he's accomplished up to this point in his life. And in that sense, it's a very unique phenomenon. It all centers around Deion Sanders.
The unique phenomena is great marketing and branding, which has
been accumulated over like 30 something years for Deion Sanders. That's what he's throwing his energy into.
You have players like Dal Green, you have players like Aeneas Williams that didn't have that, that marketing branding to put themselves over the top. Rod Woodson, great cornerback, did everything that Deion did. Have similar numbers, but you would never put him in that same epsilon. I'm not trying to down it, but I'm just saying, like, it's all about the branding, it's all about the marketing, it's all about putting yourself out there and then showing and proving it.
I mean, it's about these kinds of risks. He's been taking these kinds of risks professionally since he came in the league. He came to the draft wearing big gold chains. He looked, he had this sort of swagger. Right now, he's taking that and what he built off of that confidence that he had going into his football career. He's taken that to the next level of coaching. So all I'm saying is I don't think this is a blueprint because there aren't a whole lot of other Deion Sanders out there in the world that have the kind of cachet to back this up.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Let Mo jump in.
The question was, can anybody replicate this? So if we're going to talk realistically, I'm going to use the GOAT in the game right now, Nick Saban. If Nick Saban left Alabama tonight and came to USF right here in Tampa and gutted that whole roster, in 3 weeks, he'll have 25 studs on the roster getting ready to do the thing in the American WAC conference, whatever the conference called, whatever it is.
American WAC conference.
I love it.
Right here in Tampa ready to ball. If Kirby Smart came to USF and came from Georgia, he'll have 25 dogs. And we can list coaches on top of coaches that can do the same thing if they went to a program that was down and out and put their name on the dotted line on that contract, and you will see a wave of dogs going to follow.
I would say, wait, hold on, man. Let me jump in on this if you don't mind. First of all, Alex Galesh thinks that they're going to beat Alabama by 40. All right, so let me just make that clear. Second thing is Alabama under Saban and Kirby Smart in Georgia, they have the biggest staffs. They have the biggest investments in college football, bar none, in terms of how they're able to recruit, how they have their they have a video assistant at each position. They got like 3 video assistants at each position. Mm-hmm. Not only a quality control coach at each position. Not only, a staff that's fully laid out that can fully invest into the coaching, into the recruiting process.
That ain't what I'm saying.
I think that matters, right?
What I'm saying if Nick Saban showed up by his damn self tomorrow in Tampa, out there on Fowler Avenue, and say, "Hey man, I'm here. I'm gonna be here for the next 3 years." You mean to tell me half of Alabama roster and some cats that's 4 and 5 star that's around the country ain't coming to USF? I don't care if he come by himself, him and his wife. They coming.
They coming.
Do the same thing by itself, no staff. They coming. That's just some cats just bring that
transcends and they build themselves up to that level.
All the rules are out the window when you're talking about goats like that, man.
Fred, one thing I want to say is Coach Prime said he created the primetime moniker when he was at Florida State, when he realized that the cornerback position was one of the lowest paid positions in in the NFL. So he's like, how do I up my brand? What do I have to do in order to, make some bread in the terms of that? So,
well, that's why I'm rooting for him here. I just want to say that what he's doing is a continuation of what he's been doing. I'm just saying it's the cachet that he's been putting into this since 1989, or actually even prior to that has gotten him to this point. That's why I say this can't be replicated. That's all I'm saying. I'm really saying too that this is a uniquely Deion Sanders situation here. I mean, this is a guy with, almost 40 years of swag.
Yeah. All right. So when you talk about replicating, reproducing, we look at Praswell.
Yep.
Praswell thought he was replicating being an informant for the FBI.
He wasn't replicating. he was actually
directly doing it allegedly. Well, actually,
no, it was not allegedly. Go ahead.
According to CBS, Praswell, as you may know him from the Fugees, was accused of funneling money from a fugitive. Just follow along with this because I've been trying to process it as I'm reading it. Was accused of funneling money from a fugitive Malaysian businessman, Joe Low. That's obviously all bad pronunciations of that.
Joe Lau is Joe Lau.
Joe Lau, yeah, Joe Lau.
Joe Lau,
you're right. Through straw donors. So he was accused of funneling this money from this fugitive through straw donors to Barack Obama's 2012 campaign, trying to impede an investigation into Lau's money laundering scam and trying to persuade the U.S. to extradite a Chinese dissident. So there's a lot that's going on with this, right?
That's crazy.
I don't understand how you go. I think what would be fascinating is when the Netflix documentary comes out, holler at me if you need someone to do the writing on that or help you with the production in any way. I know there's a strike going on right now. I might be your guy. So all I'm saying is when this comes out, and
he was a scab.
Is he a scab or opportunist?
Like, guys, inflation is real. So all I'm saying is, when this documentary comes out one day, if it does, it's going to be fascinating because how do you go from being on the album that had the "Killing Me Softly" remake, "Ready or Not," Fujila, I mean, so many songs. How do you go from being the third best rapper in a group with Lauryn Hill, and how do you go from that to being a federal informant? I don't know, man. That's got to be a story, right?
I would say that the money was good because he was the third best rapper in his group, and I didn't know his real name until like later on when he said it in the rap one time. We was real grown. So somebody must have came in and said, look, Joe Low needs you to do this. And he got a couple of dollars in there. You know what I'm saying?
I got an opportunity for you.
Got an opportunity for you, Praswell.
He also is the artist behind the lesser known ghetto superstar, That Is What You Are.
So, I like that song.
There you go, Mr. Opinion likes that song. You would like that.
I think Maya's a good artist. I like that song.
And I didn't say nothing wrong with it. I said you would like that song. That's what I said.
Yeah.
I'm thinking you're the kinds of people that Praswell tricked.
Well, no. Hey, let me jump on this topic because when I hear this story, I actually jump to how often does this happen in which foreign, just people in general, I would say just corporations, foreigners, people with like money for real, peddle influence. And this doesn't seem strange. Like nobody's talking on the fact that they're saying where the money is coming from, not that the money is actually coming in for people trying to gain influence. And so that's part of the story that kind of has my alarm bells ringing because we always hear about, politicians who are on the take, right? Mm-hmm. Politicians who they need to fund their campaign to reelect. The first one I heard of was campaign to reelect Richard Nixon, right? This is like the big thing in Watergate, the big scandal. Mm-hmm. So who else has donated to the campaign to reelect these politicians that we need to ask real questions about. And I'm not just talking about foreigners who's donated to these campaigns. So that's like what stands out to me.
I mean,
On top of,
the first thing that popped into my head was, how does Pras get to know this Malaysian businessman who then wants to funnel money into the 2012 Barack Obama campaign? What is even happening in the world right now? Why is any of this going on? That's what we need to be asking ourselves.
Man. Y'all missing the whole thing. See what happened was, Pras has been snitching. He been in for 20 years, right?
Yeah.
So he got comfortable. The feds probably they probably introduced him to Joe Low. Like, hey, get tight with the dude. Give us some intel. He been doing it for 20 years, man. He got too comfortable snitching, and he thought he was untouchable. That's what happened. He was low hanging fruit. Because if we talking about Pras, I mean, if Pras came in right here and slapped me in my face, I still wouldn't know it was Pras.
Exactly.
We talking about nobody that Joe Low.
You'd have to at least rap a few bars first before I recognized who he was.
Listen, man,
I've never heard Pras rap ever.
Listen, man, when nobody's sitting around in no secret meeting saying, "Damn, man, we need to contact Pras." It happened like that. Somebody said, "Hey,
he hasn't had it in a while, man."
He thought he was one of them. He thought the 20 years of snitching brought him a lot of goodwill, and he found out it ain't like that, bro. You listen to Trick Daddy song America, brother. You wasn't in that tight.
So how many cats do y'all think are like informants?
All
so
of them.
Many.
Because
so many.
All of them.
It seemed like it's so easy. If Pras can snitch, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, yeah, he is the lesser known Fugees.
They probably set Pras up like, hey man, go down to rehab in Florida and go to, you know what I'm saying, this massage parlor and give you some love me long time. And Joe Low gonna be in there and he gonna slide you some money and just, you know, laundry.
Hey, listen,
give it to Obama.
When you see all these guys, on a serious note, you see all these guys catching all these charges, gun charges, drug charges, everything else, and then you see them out the next week.
Oh yeah.
It don't happen like that in real life.
At all.
What kind of lawyers you got? If you see cats with all these weapons and drug charges and these RICO charges and everything else, and they home in a week, man, they telling. That's the only way that happens. You don't get the slide off or get a slap on the wrist or just pay a fine for RICO charges and gun charges and attempted murders and robberies. Man, these cats is telling. They've been telling for a long time. So it's sad that a lot of cats are just not realizing that, man. These cats is everybody. I mean, that's what they do.
So is snitching bad?
He was less. I mean, I guess it depends on what level,
We'll
right?
put this in real terms.
I don't think Pras was snitching on his contemporaries. I think he was obviously snitching on some high-level geopolitical figures, which makes this whole thing even more mysterious.
Too deep, Fred.
The question is snitching bad?
I'm gonna answer the question for you. If you're a civilian like me and somebody breaking my car, I'm telling.
There you go.
If you're a gangster, if you're a robber, if you live in that life, snitching is bad. Because I mean, that's just not what they do. They're in the lifestyle they lead. So if you're talking about telling, I'm gonna be a teller. If you do something and it's either me or you, I'm telling. But if I'm living that lifestyle that they're living on the street and you snitching, you a rat in that world.
I don't think that this has anything to do with snitching on the street. I just want to reiterate that.
Man said it's snitching bad. You ain't answered that.
What happened here, right? But I'm just saying this thing with Pras is something totally
we ain't
different.
Talking about Pras.
That's still snitching.
It's snitching bad, Fred.
It's snitching bad.
Yeah. I think snitching is bad.
Why?
I don't want to get it conflated.
Okay, I'm gonna put it to you like this here. Okay, I teach kids and I teach young men and stuff, and he was telling me that, you know what I'm saying, he wasn't gonna tell on his homeboy when they got caught or whatever. I say, well, look, if you get caught up and y'all both in a situation and it's not your fault, and your homeboy don't take the blame, you know what I'm saying, for what he did, that's not your homeboy, number one. And number two, you're not a snitch if you say it is not yours.
Well, I think that here's the thing. This boils down to a larger point, which is essentially that people change the definitions of things all the time. Snitching is certainly one of those words. So if you need snitching for me to mean that I'm going to protect you no matter what the cost is to me, and no matter what you did, and no matter what the moral balance of the situation is, I'm not even listening to you. I've stopped listening to you probably long before you even described to me the definition of snitching in your mind. I have my own definition of snitching, which is like, hey man, if I know something about you that people don't need to know, they're not going to know it. You know what I mean? So I think this whole idea that, yeah, I mean, that's basically what it is. That's what I'm saying. So like the idea of snitching to me, I think in the older sense of it is that, what's between us is between us. But this whole idea that once you get caught up in the legal system and then you have to like start to weigh, oh, can I say anything about anything? No, man, you had probably better talk to people if you're in that situation, because if you're looking at multiple felony charges and you have less culpability than this guy, and you're talking about the difference in getting out sometimes while you're alive and never getting out of prison at all, that's not snitching, man. That's those literal life decisions that you're making right there.
Man, snitching can be in your house, man. If your daughter drank the last cup of orange juice.
Oh yeah, I'm telling my wife for sure. I'm gonna say that wasn't me. That wasn't me. I didn't do that. I didn't do that.
You just wasted 2 minutes out of our life with that explanation when at the end of the day you a rat, bro.
You're a rat.
I just snitched to myself at the end of this segment, as a matter of fact. I just snitched to myself.
Game over. You just told on yourself. You just snitched on yourself. Stop playing, man.
Stop playing. He's trying to use big words. Geopolitical.
I gave up my true colors. I'm sorry, guys. Sorry.
Mr.
Don't drink all the orange juice and try to hide it from my wife, and I won't. Maybe nobody will know about it.
Mr. Opinion, what's the definition of snitch, Mr. Opinion? Come on now.
All right. So snitching is a cultural phenomenon in terms of the level of giving information over, whether or not you should or should not. But I think a big part of that is your own personal safety or your own personal freedom is on the line. And so whether you're willing to give that information over, if you ask me straight up, I'm telling it all. But I'm also not in that world in which I have this code where I'm trying to hide something or not do something, right? In terms of if something went down, it's just a moral compass. I'm not in that world. So if my daughter had the last bit of orange juice, I don't know if I'm snitching. I mean, I ain't gonna lie to you, make it sound fly to you.
Are you gonna take it? You gonna take the charge?
I'm just gonna buy some more orange juice. I'm like,
nah. Sometimes it ain't that simple. That's all I'm telling you.
I don't have a daughter either, but I'm just saying, like, why would I just buy the orange juice?
Listen, sometimes you gotta be quick on your feet.
At the end of the day, snitching is about self-preservation, dog.
There you go.
You think about it, you say, hey, listen, man, am I willing to take whatever comes my way for something that I did not do, and the cat that did it is sitting right next to me? Are you willing to say, yeah, nah, bro, I can't do that?
That's the thing about having kids, man. Like, you ever been asked, hey, did you eat the rest of that food I brought home from Outback? And then there's another person in the house that could possibly be responsible. And in that split moment, in that millisecond, you have to decide, hey, man, do I want to take the rap for this? Or is there some possible deniability? Then, I mean, I won't point the finger, but I'll say, well, I don't know. I don't think so. And then that just leaves a whole nother suspect. Yeah, but then that forces the other people to look into that suspect, and they can make their own case from that.
Boy, I tell you,
I'm not gonna snitch on myself.
Okay.
Hey, you sound real 6'9" right now, Fred.
Hey, you know what's crazy is that this is the thing that happens is that we got away from all of this because we were talking about Pras, and Pras was going to be the thing that made us say, maybe Pras snitched, maybe he funneled money from some sketchy Malaysian dudes, but he was a rapper in a hip hop group, the Fugees, who released a classic album, The Score, in 1996. And his geopolitical preferences aren't going to keep me from liking The Score. But that made me think 96 was a great year for hip hop. I'm going to read you a list of albums that came out in 1996. These all came out in the same year. Obviously, The Score, which we mentioned, ATLians by Outkast, which is, the best in my opinion. 96 gonna be that year that all y'all player haters can bite me.
Yeah.
All Eyes on Me, Tupac, another classic album. Reasonable Doubt by Jay-Z, Muddy Waters by Redman, Riding Dirty by UGK, Don Illuminati, The Seventh Day Theory by Tupac, who was performing under Machiavelli, which came out later that year. Ice Cream Man, Master P, The Dogfather, Snoop Doggy Dogg. I think he was still Snoop Dogg. No, that was the first time he went by Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
And quite a few other ones. So, is this the greatest year of hip hop albums? That's what I'm wondering.
I would say that it ranks up there because you still got Foxy Brown and Ill Na Na, Tribe Called Quest. So for me, it's what we listen to in the locker room before games. You know what I'm saying? Like with Luke, because I'm from Florida, so we listen to Luke. He came out with Scarred, and we had it slowed down, and you know what I'm saying. That's just what we bumped. So everything in '96, even something in '96 that popped back up in, I would say, the last couple of years. It was My Boo, when they're doing the Running Man dance and stuff. That came out in '96 as well. So '96 was a heck of a year, but I would compare it to 1988. You know what I'm saying? With Big Daddy Kane, them came out, Eric B. and Rakim, and you know what I'm saying, Kid and Play, and all those guys. NWA came out in '88. So that's Public Enemy in '88. So it ranks up there with '88. That's my opinion on that.
I would jump in and say, without a doubt, '96 is, for me, a top 3 year, right? But I think for us as a group, we're uniquely placed from '88 to 2000, 2001.
Yeah.
Those are our peak years, and those are actually when hip hop was kind of coming into national prominence. So I remember listening to ATLians and thinking like, this is the greatest album in the history of the world. And I remember when Tupac came out with that Machiavelli, and we just constantly like bumping it. I don't know. I don't know about some of these other people, like as far as Nas, like who gives a flip? Jay-Z equally.
Don't cheat UGK now.
UGK is who gives a flip.
No, you can't cheat Pimp C, man. Don't do that.
Listen, when the subject of 1996 hip hop comes up, I don't think enough people are asking the question, who gives a flip? That's a thing that we should all be considering. Who gives a flip anyway? I don't know, but I'm just saying, who gives a flip is usually the thing that we should be considering when we're talking about hip hop music.
Nah, but you talk about the Fugees and you talk about that year. I remember our what really stands out is our highlight tape. And all the music, those songs you're naming from Fugees, from Tupac, from Outkast, all those things were on it because that's how great that year was in terms of hip hop music. And I think I would say 96 is when hip hop came into its own. And I think that maybe is the springboard for elevating it to the levels that it's hit post 96. That's what I would fit in on that.
Man, if you think about, when I think about, like Roscoe said, we're talking about that range, I will say late 80s to late 90s. 96 was definitely a real dope year. But if you're thinking about the scale of the music, so we had the West Coast gangster rap, NWA, Ice Cube, the whole West Coast gangster rap movement. Then we go out east, we got Wu, and we got Nas, and Pac was even a little New Yorker at that time. And then you think about when the South really started to rise, when you had Outkast, UGK, all that kind of stuff. So you think about, man, the range of music, East Coast, West Coast, Dirty South, Uncle Luke, booty music. Man, if you just think about the range of music that we had, man, I don't think it'll ever be like that again.
Yeah.
You have artists from every part of the country.
E40, can't forget E40.
Digital Underground, Busta Rhymes.
All that stuff, man. You think about all that stuff that was banging. Man, it don't get no better than that. That era that we had, man. I try not to listen to anything made after 1998, to be honest, because I mean, for what? You know what I mean? And going back to like ATL and all these albums, man, them albums are still relevant right now in 2023, and they damn near 30 years old, man, and they relevant. They talk about police brutality. They talking about social inequality. They talking about the hood. We're talking about hella drugs being on the street, and they talking about politics. That's what we're talking about in 2023.
And that's what we're talking about on Fourth in the Game, too.
100%. I would say you kind of really summed up where we're going with Fourth in the Game, because they don't even modern music. I don't listen to it enough, so I want to preface that. But the things that I've heard just casually, you can casually hear music with a political message in 96. You can casually hear strong, and you can casually hear Luke Scar. You know what I mean? Casually hear it. So it's like you're not put in a box. You're getting well balanced message, form, idea, right? But today, I'm not around it a lot, but I don't see it. What's that?
No.
I don't think you can casually listen to Scar.
If you listen to Scar for anything to get anything outside of some community-based music,
I would just say you casually hear it though. You hear people.
Weird if you're at like a dinner party and Scar comes on.
If I go to any kind of political rally and they're playing Scar,
Trick Daddy's like,
my vote.
Never was, ain't never gonna be.
I was thinking about. What made me laugh was I was thinking about, Akinelli, put it in your mouth, casually listening to that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just sitting in your office, and then put it in your mouth, come on, and it's like, oh, that used to be my jam back in the day. But turn that up while I read a book.
No matter what you're doing, you start singing the words, though.
You're going to do that.
Start singing the words.
Anyway,
can you mentioned it and I started singing.
Can you email me those forms? Can you email me those forms? Thank you.
Can you email me those? Put it in your mouth. You know what I'm saying?
Listen.
But it was another thing about that made 96 stick out to us, because that's when we started, like actually being old enough to go out and hang out and, be social, go to nightclubs and go to parties and, what I'm saying, without having.
Our world got bigger than just what we knew. Like we was out there.
It's a significant development area in your life.
Just like me and Fred was talking earlier, we was at I forgot the name of the club.
Oh yeah, man. It was in Ybor City. I know the name of the club.
1509
or 1509. That's not it anymore, but that's what it was.
But yeah, it's called Club Sky now.
Mm-hmm.
And the what's the song?
Let Me Clear My Throat.
Let Me Clear My Throat. That's what they made that song at. We are in the song singing in the background of Let Me Clear My Throat. I tell my daughter that. She don't believe me. She said, "Daddy, why you lying to me?" I'm like, "Why would I lie to you about something as obscure as that?" I'm like,
I don't believe it either.
Exactly.
We were there.
You was there. What you talking about?
I don't remember that.
You don't believe that you was there?
Nope.
We were there. It was good. It was a good time.
All right, cool. Well, I'm gonna take y'all word for it.
I remember that night every time I hear that song, because that's the only way I can remember that song is in the context of the big room, the big club room with the stage up there. I remember that night very vividly. 96
stick out to me because that was like my going into my senior in high school and
coming of age,
and we so that was our ATLians was our locker room music. You know what I'm saying? Like before every game we played that, and I listened to UGK. We listened to everything. We even listened to the R&B. Like we listened to a lot of R&B back then, but we're not talking about that. But yeah, you can cut that out.
Well, yes, but I think one of the things that we could.
Y'all doing a lot of fumbling, bro.
Yeah, no, because we were talking about rap, and I was about to go into R&B.
A lot of fumbling,
so I had to stop myself.
No, I was just gonna say.
Y'all Y'all fumbling the rock all over the place.
I'm fumbling Ruthie down like
Hey,
that.
All right, let's go, man. Come on, let's go.
Well, nah, Ma, I was just going to say, I think you brought up a good point that I wanted to kind of go into. What is the cutoff date? For me, I think it's about 2004-ish, maybe even 2005. I don't think it's quite at 2000 for me. So what is your kind of cutoff year? Because I think some of that Lil Wayne stuff kind of catches in. Some Outkast, like what was that? What was your Stankonia published? Was that 98? 2000? Yeah. So some of that 2000 stuff kind of, we're still relatively young. We're still hearing that music. We're still out in the world. So I don't know if it's quite at 2000, the cutoff date.
I mean, I guess, man, if you look at 2000, you look at the 2000s, man, you look at like early pre-Lose His Damn Mind Kanye and cats like that, man, when you say, all right, cool, those are cats that were still doing it. And then you also got to factor in cats like Outkast, who still in the early 2000s was still Aquemini, all of the stuff that was coming from them boys down south, they were still doing it in the early 2000s.
Yeah, I would say with Ludacris.
Ludacris and
Rick Ross and all
Lil Wayne, Juvie, 50 came on the scene. Like it was cats that was still dropping real dope albums that we still could relate to. You know, once you get past like 08, 09, maybe there's one or two cats that you really can say, like, you know, Nelly and them was doing their thing. And it was hot, and you know, Hot Boys, and other than that, man, we still relied on cats that we grew up with, Outkast, Scarface, Snoop. We still relied on them to make good music, even though we was grown as hell, man. We was still listening, like going to them cats concerts because, hey, man, that's what we knew. Yeah, and that's just how I think about it, man. I think the cutoff is like 08, 09, pre-accident, Kanye. Other than that, man, you can miss me with the rest of that.
Okay. All right. Bet that up.
Well, look, I got a real question for y'all. Just to put your thinking caps on, you know what I'm saying? This is to change the speed up.
I got my dog cap on.
This is Roscoe's question of the day. All right. Who would you want to be your TV dad and why?
Tough one.
Mr. P, and I will go to you first.
If I had to think back of shows I watched, I used to watch a lot of black and white TV. We had a black and white TV.
Yeah, so did I.
And I used to watch a lot of TV with my grandma and stuff like that. So I think about Green Acres.
Wow.
And
you better not say Wilbur.
No, that was just like my first thought that jumped into my head. I'm trying to remember who was the dad, because they moved from New York to the countryside. And I just remember that time in the countryside. I wouldn't mind being out in that countryside, seeing all that land, and just, I don't know, just doing like a farm's work. It was just so different from my life that kind of just ran out to me. I can imagine, you know, just living out in the country. So
you want to be Mr. Wendell was going to be your father.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Okay. Maul, who would be your TV dad and why?
I'm going to say TV dad, man. I'm going to take Uncle Phil. And I'm going to take Uncle Phil, man, because when I watched The Fresh Prince, man, Will always had the new Jordans. His mom lived in the hood. She didn't have a whole lot of money. His mom was poor. She sent them to LA, to Cali. Somebody had to buy the J's for him, man. It was Uncle Phil, man. Dude was a lawyer. He owned his own firm.
He was a judge eventually, man. A lot of Jordans.
He ended up being a judge. He beat George Jefferson for the seat. The beat judge when the show was coming to an end. They lived in the same house that Benson lived in, the governor's mansion. Little known fact. So I'm taking Uncle Phil, man, because Uncle Phil had paper and he was cool.
He was cool.
He was always fresh. So if I go to Uncle Phil and say, "Hey man, new Jordan came out," Uncle Phil gonna say, "Go grab him, nephew."
Say less.
Wow.
Taking Uncle Phil all day.
All right, Fred, who you got?
This is a tricky question for me, right? Because I grew up without a dad in my house. So if the idea that I have to pick a TV dad to coexist with me in the way that I understand the world now, I have a dark horse candidate here. And might shock some people. I'm gonna say it's Al Bundy, right? Because
oh, that's strong. That's strong.
I knew it.
Because I feel like Al Bundy's gonna kind of he's gonna let me rock and be the Fred that can grow up and prosper on the Fourth in the Game podcast, right? But at the same
Roscoe had an
time,
imaginary football career too. I know somebody
yeah. Like
they had a hell of an imaginary
So you
football.
Bud Bundy, you Grandmaster B.
We might both reminisce on our Polk High days. I don't know. But all I'm saying is I feel like this is a dude I could coexist with, right, man? Because all he wants me to do is leave him alone. Let him watch his TV. As long as I don't disrupt anything, right? As long as I don't cause any major problems, I can probably get by with some stuff. So what I'm saying is I think Al Bundy's all right. He can make me laugh when I need to laugh. Other than that, if I just leave him alone, man, we have an understanding. And, I still get to grow up and be the Fred I am today. So I'm going to go with
That's a strong candidate. That's strong.
Well, go ahead, man. Let us have it, bro. Who you got?
All right. So this is my thought process, right? So my first person was Fred G. Sanford.
Oh,
because
the G stands for great.
G stands for great. He kept it real, you know what I'm saying? And he was hilarious. And he didn't, but then I was like, I don't want to stay in the junkyard.
Right.
So then I thought about it. I was like, I would be Mr. Drummond. Y'all know Mr. Drummond, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Different strokes.
He like mom say, he can buy you the Jordans, but the only downfall for Mr. Drummond was he let the gooch whoop my ass.
Right.
I can't have Mr. Drummond letting the bullies get me. You know what I'm saying? He like, hey man, just talk it out. No, Mr. Drummond, we gotta go handle this. So my guy that I picked be George Jefferson, because you know what I'm saying, he started from humble beginnings, then he moved to the pie in the sky. And he didn't take no crap from nobody. You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He walked into a KKK meeting like, hey, what's happening? You know what I'm saying? So I would say George Jefferson, we had a maid. We stayed in New York. He had it popping. I can work I had clean clothes.
He was a hell of a dancer too.
He can get down. You feel me? Get it. George. So I'll choose George Jefferson, man. But
yeah.
We used to be a heck of a stepmom too, so
yeah, you know what I'm saying. So, and yeah, George Jefferson to be my pick, man.
I guess that would. Well, this conversation, I don't want it to go too long, but I was just thinking about what crew you could have hung out with, right? In terms of like TV crews, who you would have just been like chill to kind of kick it with. So I was thinking of like Raj and them from What's Happening.
Oh,
I would have had fun with them.
No, Roger, no rerun the rent.
That's a crew that kind of just stands out. People I could just kind of chill with and just have a good time doing nothing but just being the fellas. You know what I mean?
Bro, listen, I want to hang out with JJ and the Warlord. In Chicago. I want to walk around with a Warlord jacket and cause complete chaos on the streets of Chicago, and then go home to my pops, James Evans.
Hey, you have a beautiful sister. I ain't gonna lie to you. Make you sound lie to you.
Hey, that's man, gross, I want to hang out with the Warlords and JJ because they was tough.
Fred, who you gonna hang out with?
Oh man, this one's kind of tough, right? Because it's like there's different reasons that you might want to hang out with different crews. I'm kind of thinking, I don't know, man. I might want to, hang out. Here's the thing. I'm going at this from a different angle. I'm thinking I might want to hang out with those kids from Saved by the Bell. Because I feel like I could probably, like I could probably force my way up to the front of the cool there. Like I'm smarter than all those kids. Probably a little bit more streetwise than AC Slater. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like at the end of the day, if I could just get Zach to kind of feel like he needed to impress me, I got Bayside on lock, man. And as long as he doesn't call timeout in the middle of a scene and use his cell phone, then I should be able to, I should be able to kind of rule. I should be able to kind of rule Bayside.
Fred, Lisa or Kelly or
Lisa Turtle all day long. You don't even have to get into the rest of the name.
I can't go for that, but Kelly was fired, brother.
I hear what you're saying, but I would.
What's the other tall chick name? I forget her name.
Jessie Spano.
Yeah, Jessie was annoying, man. She was trying to be a activist and all that kind of stuff, man. We in high school. We ain't trying to say no whales, man. We ain't knowing that.
I mean, I don't have any kind of insider knowledge into Bayside High, but I would imagine that she wasn't good for AC Slater's athletic career. I'm just guessing, but
one of the state champion wrestler. Go ahead, Roscoe.
Well, my first thought was I want to hang out with Mike Seaver just so I can call my homeboy Boner and get away with it.
I can't call him a grown man Boner.
That's too personal.
That's grown enough. It's grown enough.
But I would want to hang out with Moesha and them simply because I know a certain somebody would be pissed off at me if I would get to hung around Moesha them all day.
Yeah, I want to change my answer, dog. I want to hang out with Moesha and the crew and go to Mo's place and hang out, man. I got to. So yeah, I'm changing my answer. I like JJ and the Warlords, but I need to be next to Brandon.
Nah, go hang out in the project in Chicago, man.
Mom trying to be down.
You want to be sitting up in the room.
I'm trying to get to her early in the game, so I'm gonna go back and say I'm gonna hang out with Brandon.
Yeah, with Brandon Moesha. Okay.
Got to.
All right, bet that up, y'all. All right. So listen, we're here. We made it.
Yes.
We made it. We made it. We made it. The XFL.
Yes.
The People's Trophy is happening. And Fred, I'm gonna come straight up the middle. Before we go to Roscoe, I'm gonna come straight up the middle. You've been touting the Houston Leatherbacks all year, and they have undoubtedly crumbled to the Arlington Muskrats, right? What do you have to say other than my bad?
I just want to say that Maul's been in my ear lately, and he's been telling me, hey, man, why you guys always talk about the XFL? What's wrong with you? You're stupid, right? And so I was like, man, I don't want to listen to you, Maul. Like, stop being a bad influence on me. That's what I was saying. You know what I mean?
Damn.
And then now I feel like I suddenly realized, man, maybe I should have been listening to Maul all along, right?
Nope.
Like,
no such thing.
Maybe the XFL is stupid, and I should just stop talking about it, right? So I'm just saying that Maul's right, and why are we talking about the XFL?
What? No,
and
I'm not gonna let you finish and say Maul's right. How you gonna do that there?
You finally won me over,
first
man.
off, you talking too long.
Every now and then Maul makes good points.
You talking too long. Hey, good point. You talking too long to be a loser. DC is bringing the people's belt home, and Maul, I already know why you don't like spring football. We're not gonna go into that. All I'm saying.
Did you just accuse me of something?
Yeah, accuse you of not liking spring football. Do you like spring football? Why you don't like spring football?
First of all, let's back up a little bit.
Go ahead.
The names that Mr. Opinion, the mascot names that he just said, I don't even know if those are real names or not. So that lets you know how
the Muskrats could be a real name.
I don't know if those are real names. I don't know if he just made those up. I don't know if he's trying to be funny, but I really have no idea. So I'm just gonna roll with the fact that all those names are real teams. I don't know what city they play in. I can't name nobody in the XFL. So I mean, if you're thinking about XFL and spring football, man, I'd rather go watch Tampa Bay Technical High School play spring football practice, man, than watch the XFL on my TV. Like, I ain't finna disrespect my TV like that.
Wow.
Well, since you don't disrespect your TV and you have showed Fred around campus and he's on your squad now, DC is bringing this home. So just know that I predicted this
DC
how many episodes ago? It don't even matter how many damn episodes ago I predicted it.
Wow.
It's coming home to DC. We celebrate. Come to my house. We're gonna watch the championship game on the back porch, and I'll put some beanie weenies on the stove.
Yeah. I show you how much respect he got for the XFL. He gonna serve you beanie weenies while you watching the game.
Everybody loves beanie weenies, man. Don't act like we never ate beanie weenies on 3009 St. Conrad. Don't do that.
Not now football game have I ate any beanie weenies.
But we've ate beanie weenies before.
I have ate plenty of them, but not.
All right. That's a delicacy.
All right, Mark, real question though.
Beanie weenies during a football game, they clearly don't give a damn about that.
Beanie weenies are delicious. First of all, let's not really disrespect beanie weenies.
It ain't football food. I don't care.
But second though, Mark, for real. You have been outspoken opponent of Spring Football League, the XFL, and the USFL, which we haven't really touched on yet, but we got time, right?
Yeah.
What would it take for you to get into spring football?
Man, for me, it would take like a true partnership with the NFL, man. It would take for real. I can't say legitimate, man, because I don't want to disrespect the cats that's playing. I mean, they still trying to do their thing, man. They still got a dream they're chasing. But man, if you talk like, come on, bro, we all know football. When you watch the XFL and the USFL, whatever the FLs are, the quality of football that these cats is playing, come on, man, stop playing around.
A couple of these cats, like Danucci, the quarterback, is going to have a trial with the Broncos.
That's one.
Well, Hicks is going to have a trial with the Steelers. There's more and more coming out. Maybe they'll get 5 or 6 this year.
Okay, so we're talking about
I don't know.
So we're talking about 5 quality football players out of a league of 700.
Well, it's not a league of 700, easy. But
what I'm saying by the NFL though.
But what I'm saying is, only thing I'm saying is, it's football.
It's football.
Yeah.
A, B. This is how you develop talent over time, right? Given the opportunity for continuing play. The NFL isn't the NFL today off rip. It had to grow into it. At one point, we had scrub teams like the Miami Dolphins going undefeated with 130-pound offensive linemen.
That's it, man. That's the last bit of Dolphins.
But I'm saying football has developed.
You're not trying to have a serious conversation.
72.
Y'all fell for it. Y'all fell for it. I mean, he was legitimately sitting there about to answer the question.
No, I wasn't.
Brought it back.
That is a real answer, though. Football develops. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, Mo.
You should develop as a podcast host.
This is beautiful.
You know when it develops? It develops on Saturdays in September, October, and November in NCAA football. Not on Saturday with 35-year-old dudes that don't want to hang their cleats up. I mean, let's be for real. They ain't developing nothing right now. I live in Tampa, Florida, man. It's a lot of beautiful things to do on a Saturday than to watch the sea monkeys and I don't even know what other
disrespect them.
The leatherbacks or whatever you call them. And I could be doing something else in my 3 hours and watching some cats that's probably my age out there still trying to hang on.
The DC deflators.
Worth it, man.
Don't hate Fred.
All right. No, I hear that. And for me, honestly, it just comes down to marketing. It comes around to just being around. And I think it will develop over time. I think if the football quality just continues to improve, I think with those players having more opportunity to play, with those players having more opportunity to connect to the NFL, I think people like you it can be turned around because you're undoubtedly a football fan. You like football.
Well, how though? Okay, so Mr. Opinion, give me your opinion on how the XFL, USFL, whatever FL we're talking about, how are they going to make themselves sustainable? Because if you look at it, man, the NFL season is getting longer and longer. They're dragging out free agency. They're dragging out the draft. It's football. It's NFL teams right now having rookie minicamps. The Bucs got rookie minicamp and veteran minicamp going on right now. So how what kind of niche are they going to carve out, man, if the NFL is growing? NFL going to be year-round in a minute, bro. Like, where they going to fit in?
Well, the NFL isn't a year-round just yet. I think the XFL is having their championship game now. So I think that was the smart thing they did versus the USFL is that they put themselves in that little niche that they can still, like, they having players sign, right? Are they going to have 5 or 6? Are they going to have 10? I'm not really sure, but I think they're going to have more and more people with opportunities go to the NFL. But I don't think that's the story, to be honest with you. I think whether they have people go to the NFL or not, their goal is to become a viable spring league as a league. So whether they get connected to the NFL or not, I think it just comes down to marketing, keeping the brand going, because people enjoy football. And yes, they're getting money from sponsorships. If we look at it, they have more fans watching their games than the NHL. And the NHL has been around for like about 100 years, right? It's been around for a long time. And they're already ahead of the curve. They have Disney backing them in the XFL. The USFL has Fox backing them, right? So these are major brands and major programming who is looking for content. So they have, as long as they have enough eyes to go to the next year, to increase their sponsorship. You know, we had 35,000 sitting in St. Louis for the games. We have the beer cup sitting in DC. So what I'm saying is, people want an opportunity to go out and do things. I would bet if Orlando was anywhere relevant, if you're out at Disney that you would normally take your family to, there happens to be a game and there's a fun atmosphere like it is in St. Louis, like it is in DC, you keep developing those markets, you would just go. Because it's an experience. It's something to do in terms of just watching football and enjoying an experience. So that's kind of my idea.
And right now, like Mr. Piggy said, he said that the XFL season is ending right now, which is prime time for free agent signing. And when they, saying, like, it's a lot of teams that need quarterbacks, that need linemen, that need just fulfillers for training camp right now. Because it's a lot, like the Bucks got 2 quarterbacks. Like, there's some teams
really
that
have
got
0 quarterbacks, but I mean, if you want to count the cats,
but I fell for it. You know what I'm saying, though. So, but I say that the XFL can grow if they did have like the World League type tag to them, like saying like, this dude is a development player. You know, we drafted him in the 6th round, or he was unsigned, and he set the bench, but he's going to the XFL to get better. Then we can watch him. You can be like, man, he gonna be on my team next year. Oh man, that's great. I need to watch him. I need to see how he gonna develop. That's just like that's the connection that they need to get, that World League stuff. So I feel what you're saying. So, but right now, they still have a good quality of football. It's better than what I've seen before. But yeah, man, I see the connection. They need to intertwine them, because the NFL,
they do, man. Because if you think about NFL Europe, man, when the Cats was playing NFL Europe, they had their NFL team patch on their jersey. So like, if you drafted a cat in the 4th and 5th round, and you say, man, go play NFL Europe, we're gonna develop you. Like you said, man, that team is supporting that cat. Yeah. Super fans is watching the NFL Europe game because they want to see the dude who's going to be on the roster next year. Mm-hmm. Like, you, at some point, any league that's going to be successful is going to have to pull the NFL in as in some kind of capacity, bro. You just have to, because they like Nino Brown and the Carter, man. They got it on lock. They just literally, like, this year is new. XFL, they carved out a little small niche for themselves this year. Cool, they did that. But is that sustainable every year? Because the NFL gonna keep nudging, man. They're gonna keep elbowing, even if they see you coming, man. They gonna elbow you off the block.
And the NFL gonna take your best players from your league,
best players every year.
Make them their backups. Just because
they're gonna take your best players every year.
And
every year, just through attrition. Your league, and we're talking about the money positions, your quarterbacks, your receivers, your DNs, your offensive linemen, all the guys you got that might sell tickets. Yeah, but they're gonna be on somebody in the NFL. They're gonna be camp meet next year and be all right with that, as opposed to being on the USFL, XFL roster.
Maybe, because only reason why I say AJ McCarron had a chance to be in the NFL, and he chose to actually go to the XFL because he wanted his children to see him actually play, because he wasn't the starter in the in the NFL, right? So, and he was just, holding back up.
So one dude.
It got to start somewhere. I'm just saying.
I want to point out Fred's not paying attention right now.
Fred's doing the best he can. But I do want to add a corollary or a thought to this.
This has turned into a super long talk about the XFL. I just want to point that out right now. When it comes time to editing, let this voice be a reminder to you that you've probably reached the limit of XFL content.
But no. But before we close out, I would just want to argue or just say I don't actually believe they need a partnership with the NFL. I would say build your brand, build your product, build it to a good product, and compete with the NFL. I'm not saying that because at some point, the AFL competed with the NFL. At some point, the USFL, the original USFL, competed with the NFL, and they were making headway in games. I would say what's happening in St. Louis is a direct threat to the NFL. I would say, I just say it's a direct threat. Long-term possibilities, right? If they're able to continue to grow that market, I think it can be, and I just fully believe that. I think if they continue to grow in the DC market, that's where threats start. It doesn't automatically pop up one year, oh, we're the biggest threat. No, we have to grow and we have to develop. And if they continue on this trajectory, literally on this trajectory, they can be a threat.
Hey, before we stop talking about the XFL, I just have one more thing to say on the XFL before we get out of here.
It sucks.
4 scores and 7 years ago. What are you doing, man? Why are we talking about this for so long? This is ridiculous.
But
we've been talking about the XFL now for the last 25 minutes. This is silly.
But to continue what you were saying, Phil.
No, we don't need to continue.
No.
There's no more continuing.
It's a point. It's a point.
There's no point.
The reason why St. Louis was to capacity because they don't have an NFL team.
They just got their team stole from them. They need something to do in St. Louis.
They got nothing else to do. You know what I'm saying?
That's why I think it's great. That's why I think it's an opportunity. And they take in the XFL, that's the type of example they took advantage. DC doesn't have a football team. They've taken advantage. You know what I mean? Orlando doesn't have a football team.
The Commanders ain't in Washington no more. They ain't like 10 minutes away from DC.
I mean, I guess if you want to call that football, I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying.
Hey, they just got sold for $6 billion. You got to call it something.
Well, we'll wait and see. I know they're selling. I know that's a thing. I'm just saying it's a threat because the fans are so hungry for winning, and they're so hungry for process. That's why people showed up.
This is a bad take, bro.
Nah, I'm just saying people showed up. I mean, you can't argue with people showed up at DC.
It's a novelty right now, man. Okay, they showed up.
You got to start somewhere. I said it's multiple years. We'll see what happens over time, but you got to start somewhere. And I'm just saying it's a strong start. Emphatically, I think there's no question about it. This year has been a success for the XFL. Full stop. Right?
Yeah, it has.
You know, and is it sustainable? I don't know. Was the USFL sustainable? It had some of the best players in history. It lasted for a long time. I would say they overstretched.
The NFL stole them. They stole.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, Young and Herschel Walker.
But that's what I'm.
Reggie White.
But that's what I'm saying. I would say they overstretched in terms of trying to compete in a way that is not sustainable. But I think there's lessons to be learned from that process. But I think you can grow the brand. The brand was strong. Yeah. Right. And if it comes to a point where the brand matters more than the player and then behind it, just like the fish, right? You're gonna watch the fish fry, right? Regardless of whose name's on the back of the jersey, whether it's Tua or whether it's Marino, because the brand is so big. And I'm saying that's the goal of the XFL is to grow their brand, to create a niche. So regardless of whoever's a player on the back of the jersey, people are going to show up because the games are fun. They're exciting, and people have a history of supporting their teams. That's all.
The NFL is not going to let that happen, bro.
And I love to see it.
NFL ain't going to let that happen. It's not. They don't have no time. That's like saying you're going to pull up on the block the main drag in the cart and start selling rock cocaine, and Nino Brown is going to sit it. Nino Brown will sit upstairs in the penthouse suite and watch you work his block. That don't happen. That's not a real thing.
Well, I guess that's what I'm also saying with the XFL, right? Their goal is just to stick around, right? If they get bought out by the NFL and they get bought out, I mean, everybody has a price, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of, all right, so if we move forward, I think you guys forget. I think this conversation is important. I actually don't think it's just BS, even though it took a while. But I think the positioning of XFL spring football actually matters because there is this void. We've been talking about draft, we've been talking about basketball, but there is a passion for football. Football is the most watched television sport. It's perfectly made for television.
Yeah.
And I think the NFL does a lot of things that are wrong. And I think with the XFL coming in and challenging them, just look at what they're doing with the instant replay, where they're showing the mistakes that are being happened, or they're giving reason. I would love for that to be in the NFL. I would have loved to have seen an explanation behind that pass interference that ruined the Super Bowl. But we will never see that, and there will be never any pressure on the NFL until there's a viable spring league that comes along and challenges it. Professional spring league or any professional league. That's what I'm saying. Competition breeds growth. And if it's not for a USFL or XFL, I don't know if football is going to grow. And if football doesn't grow, I don't know if football is sustainable long term. There's so many kids and there's so many parents who are not even having their kids play football now. So many. It's like a real thing. And I think there's so perfect example. So I want to jump into things that do you have a comment? So I want to jump into things that matters to me. Any comment? Any pushback on that?
I think we need to talk about the XFL a little more. I don't think we've gone into this subject enough.
I just want to say this. You heard it here first. Like this might sound off the wall, but I see it coming. Eventually, college football is going to start doing spring football games where they start playing each other and making money and doing all kind of stuff. Once that happens, you could kiss the XFL, all the FLs goodbye, because you'll have teams that'll be playing real live games in the spring. They won't all play on the same weekend, but it'll be like a 4 to 6 week span in the spring. We'll be seeing real college football games. They ain't gonna count against nothing, but people are gonna be watching those games, man. That's where it's going. You look at it,
man, Mo. I think, man, you got my mind racing with that thought. We look at what happened in Colorado, 47,000. We look at what happened in Georgia, over 60, 70,000 in the stadium. I would say they don't even need to actually play football games. Even if they played, they gave up a 707 league. During that same time period, I think that would blow up. I mean, crazy money. I think, and I'm just talking about the beating on their bodies and stuff like that, where you can still get your game off. College football, under their new, they have this new playoff format, right? In the new playoff format, because they're going to expand the playoff teams to 12 teams, not this year, but the following year, they're going to have their first games, let's say in late November after the conference championships. The second round is going to be New Year's Day, and they're not going to finish their season until like February 20th.
Wow.
Is it February 20th or is January 20th? Something like that. It's going to be late in the year. I want to say it's February 20th or January 20th. What I'm saying is the season is already going to get pushed back for college football. It's here, right, with the expanded playoffs. So I don't know from that time gap if they could go to a full college football season, but I think there is space for a 707.
So basically, what you're saying is they gonna do like what they do in high school now.
Spring jamborees,
spring jamborees.
I would love that. I would love that. Can you imagine Florida playing USF in a spring game?
Hey, listen, man. Even if it's just a controlled scrimmage, man, people are gonna watch the hell out of it because it's football. It's somebody who don't have on the same uniforms and same helmet. Them same 40,000 people that was in Boulder, Colorado, watching Deion's 1-11 team from last year. Everybody in the world will tune in to see them play
Colorado State. Not even they don't even got to go big.
And even if it's just like a little controlled 40, 50 play scrimmage, man. They're going to sell out. ESPN going to cover it. They're going to do a pre and post game show. They're going to have all the big advertising during the game. Like, that's where it's going.
I would love that.
I would say that it will be a coach's nightmare to play that game simply because you got a game plan for it, because you don't want to go out there and look bad. So now that just adds extra to your spring. Instead of developing the freshmen, the incoming freshmen, seeing what you got, now you also have to game plan for another school. So
but one of the advantages might be getting them cats ready for the fall season as far as game week, game prep, film study, scout tape, all that kind of stuff might be valuable too.
I understand. But I'm saying in spring football in college is different from high school. Because
no doubt.
Spring football in college, you waking up 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and it's all day. You know what I'm saying? And it's all day with no reward at the end. Like there's no game, every Saturday. It's more work every Saturday. You know what I'm saying? And it's all spring. And the only game that you get is that spring game. You know what I'm saying? The showcase your stuff. But I'm just trying to be devil's advocate about the whole, the coaching aspect of it, of game planning for that spring game. And I feel you on that's where it's going, because it's all about making money. It's all about getting that recruit. It's all about, putting people in their best position, especially for that portal being as big as it is and the NIL deals.
Got to start doing something different, man.
Exactly. So if let's say Dion gets with whoever, Jackson State, and they play a spring game together.
Wow.
And it's controlled practice.
They can put that in Dallas.
Not only is he helping his team develop, he's helping Jackson State get money. And now he looks like a genius. But he hurt it here on 4th in the game, so you got to pay us first.
I tell you.
I was just going to say, man, if we can market that. I wanted to go to your point about the issues that this could bring up. I'm thinking about Arch Manning, right? Arch Manning, relatively speaking, he had a terrible spring game. He was throwing, according to them, to 3rd and 4th stringers, right?
Overrated.
Look.
Overrated.
We've seen Arch Manning in high school get whooped by Berkeley Prep, right?
Yeah.
Berkeley beat the brakes off them.
Beat the brakes off of them. Now Berkeley Prep couldn't beat the best team in Hillsborough County, but they went down there and he looked like a pedestrian. The only reason why Arch Manning is who he is because of his name.
Name on the back.
And that's it.
All right. So I did a full breakdown. I'll post it in here somewhere. Of him versus Juwan Johnson, who destroyed him as a freshman.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna say, it just adds to the pressure that the coaches are facing if they don't deliver on the good product. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, that's also a part of the game, right? These facilities that they're making, even USF has a multi-million-dollar facility up finally, thank God. And nice. Yeah, and I haven't seen it yet. I haven't physically been down there.
It's nice.
Well, but what I'm saying is the money is going up, and up. It ain't going down. Things are not getting cheaper, and they have to find different ways of revenue. So I think these are brilliant ideas, and I want to figure out how can we monetize this to like sell
trademark for the game. We brought it here first. If you do it, you got to pay us.
They could play spring football games in my backyard.
Straight up.
I mean, I'll pop some popcorn.
All right, let's go into things that matter to us. All right. I kind of want to start this off. There was a thing that came across my timeline. Lionel Messi, Hall of Fame soccer player, probably one of the best ever, is possibly going to Saudi Arabia for a $400 million a year contract. $400 million. And it's not with a team. He's signing this with the government, and they're going to put him on the team.
Wow.
All right. So I guess what I'm saying is Wow.
Yeah.
Like, can you? Obviously, we can't imagine.
Yeah.
But $400 million a year to play a game you love. So I guess this is what I'm saying too. Is it worth it to some degree to go into the NFL, to go into football versus going into a global game?
Well, how many American players have made $400 million or close to that in the global game?
I would say zero.
Okay, so if there's no Americans that's doing it, like that you can see, that you can set that
Oh no, we
goal
got
to.
some big time players. We got
No. But I'm talking about you.
elite.
Yeah, you made that question. So if they're not making that money from here, and you can make that money playing baseball, basketball, football, tennis, golf, whatever, why not do that? Because it's readily available. And then, you know what I'm saying? Because now when you're competing in the sport, if it's a global sport, you're competing against billions of people. When it's just football, you're competing against thousands of people. So it's just like playing the lottery, man. Can I bid on 1,000 or 1,000,000,000? So
Well, I would just say the development of the American athlete is more, it's pretty elite, I would say,
yeah.
Especially compared to how much money America invests in sports versus how other places invest money into sports, right?
Yeah.
So because America invested so much money, we have great results like LeBron James, who's a freak athlete. We have Ja Morant, things like that. People we call elite athletes. A Ja Morant could do that here or there.
Yeah.
But the terms of long-term longevity, the terms of more opportunity was more leagues, because we just think there's only one NBA, right? But there's multiples of professional leagues that can pay Ja Morant well overseas in terms of putting, our elite athletes, because we're not sending our elite, we're not sending our best. And so that's why I say.
When you talk about a global sport, we're really only talking about one sport. That's soccer.
That's it. Yeah.
When you think about baseball,
Basketball. But it's here. But the best is here. Yeah.
Not only is the best here, the leagues in Japan and China and all, they ain't paying what the MLB is paying. Basketball is the same way. Every foreign country's got a basketball league, but they ain't paying what the NBA is playing. So when we talk about a global sport, we only talking about soccer.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, man, for the average kid that's in the neighborhood, man, soccer just ain't that cool. You got to be early. Somebody got to put a soccer ball in your hand out the womb
to your feet.
Be interested in that. You have to. Other than that, man, it's the round ball, it's the pigskin. It might be the baseball, and that's a stretch. But when you talk about soccer, man, if you don't get a kid interested in soccer at like 2-3 years old with a soccer ball in the backyard, once they get to be middle school age and all their friends are playing basketball and all their friends are playing football, that soccer window is closed for them. So when we talk about global sports, is it worth it financially? Absolutely. If you got a son to put a soccer ball in his hand and teach him how to shoot and bend it like Beckham, but that's going to be very rare to keep him engaged in that, because if you think about it, where the hell is he going to play and develop those skills in the States?
Well, there's academies. I would just say there's more and more. There's academies here that are close to developing. There's even more and more American kids going overseas and signing those contracts earlier to play. I was only thing I say.
That, though? Back to Roscoe's point. How rare is that? Where you can be a dude and you can be a baller at your neighborhood basketball court and play high school ball and play a little bit of college ball and go to the G League and eventually go to NBA, sign a contract. Man, soccer, the chances of you being that guy are so astronomical. When
I guess what you're saying is real, and I think parents not knowing what to do next, right? Because I think if I had a kid, I would know. I haven't done it, but I would know some of the steps to take to kind of get them into, because those European clubs have academies here in the States, right? They have development camps, they have processes to get connected to. So that's also a real thing. But I guess what I also saw for myself personally, and this is I guess why this matters to me. I remember seeing different players from America go and play rugby, play soccer, not really soccer, but more rugby because that's more equivalent to the NFL and to our football skills.
Yeah.
And I mean, just shine because their level of development exceeded their level of development, even for a sport that they do in terms of athleticism, in terms of speed, in terms of strength. And so it was just chances to be exceptional. And I know some people who went over to play from America, played rugby overseas in Australia, played in what was he in England, right? And they were super exceptional. I don't know a lot, but I'm just saying I think there's avenues to choose that athleticism. So that was just what matters to me. That's just kind of my thoughts. Thank you guys for engaging. Who's up next?
Ma, what matters to you?
Well, one of the things that matters to me, Jaslyn graduated from Georgia State today with honors. My family went up to Atlanta to see her walk across the stage. So that matters to me, man, because today, young people, not too many young people are doing that, man. They're not really going to school and following through, man. So it's been a challenge for her, but to graduate college with honors, man, is an achievement. So shout out to my niece, shout out to my brother, shout out to my mom, shout out to everybody who played a part in my niece getting that degree today, man. So that matters to me a lot.
Hell yeah.
All day. Beautiful stuff, man.
Go ahead, Roscoe. Outside of what's in that cup, what matters to you, brother?
This water in my cup, by the way. If you
I just said outside of what's in the cup. I didn't say what was in it.
Well, what matters to me is that it's about to be the end of the school year, and that's a gift and a curse because they call that testing season. So what matters to me is my peace of mind and me having an off period. So and I don't have one for the next couple of weeks, but I'll accept that because I know I only got a couple of weeks left. So that's the only thing that matters to me.
Testing season is absolutely real.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely real.
Because they testing.
Yes.
Hey. All right, fellas. What a great podcast. Great podcast. Us being rebranded as Fourth in the Game.
Fourth in the Game, baby.
I love it. I'm excited. I'm excited for where we're going to go, but we're only going to go with your support. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We really need you on this journey. It's very important in order for us to deliver this type of content. Is a show that you care. Drop a like. Send it off to your Facebook. Push it. Promote it. We need your support to grow bigger and bigger. And we believe in this. We believe in what we're doing. And that's what I got.
This is the game. This is what
hit those buttons, man. Hit that like, hit that share, hit that sub, man. Let's do this together. Wherever we go, we're gonna take y'all with us, man. So hit those buttons.
No stitching on this side. Thank y'all for joining us. Catch you on the flip. Peace.